Alright, g'day everyone, and after a long break, both from the title and from the channel, welcome back to Terra Invicta. As well as just being one of my favourite titles generally, the game's gotten a series of patches, most recently 0.4.78, which has changed a lot about the game, rebalanced it extensively, given a new look, new feel, new features, new AI behaviour, and also reportedly made the game more difficult, so I think it's a great time to come back to it. Unfortunately, that does mean that our previous save files are not going to work, so we're going to have to start a new game for this run. I put this to a vote in terms of faction choice, and here's what's happened. Terra Invicta is fundamentally, well, most of the time, about picking a faction and then defending our planet Earth from an alien invasion. But what if instead of defending Earth one way or another, we instead just noped out of the entire situation and left everyone else to deal with it? So the faction that's been selected here is actually Project Exodus, and as the name suggests, their grand idea is that the limited resources of humanity shouldn't be dedicated to defeating the alien invasion, resisting the alien invasion, or whatnot. The goal should be to build a colony ship to carry a limited number of humans to settle somewhere else. As for what that means for all the humans who aren't lucky enough to be selected to go on that ship and leave, mere details. As long as the billionaires, tech bros, and whoever they decide to take with them is saved, isn't that really all that matters? So the game will have to focus very much on space industrialization. I imagine there's going to be a lot of construction. I've never played an Exodus campaign before. I also don't know how the new game balance works. I haven't looked into how the new game balance works. So hopefully it should be a good time. Let's kick off with the introduction and then come up with an opening strategy.
We remember the day the stars
Here we are
answered,
with our intro.
the day we learned we were not alone. As a familiar sun rose on an
The
unfamiliar
first bit's generic, and
universe,
then we'll have the faction
some of us saw
specific bit.
wondrous possibility and others existential danger. The astronomers had insisted that the bright streak in the sky was no natural phenomenon. Most of us didn't really believe them until it burned through our atmosphere and crashed in a remote region, leaving only wreckage and uncertainty.
And, as we know from our other playthroughs, a Hydra operative.
In our ignorance, we fractured, taking refuge in our most primal emotions. Each of us saw what we wanted to see.
An excuse to nope out of humanity.
It is disconcerting at first to awaken to an unfamiliar home. To open your eyes and see that everything you knew has changed forever. But unease has long been the price of wisdom. There comes a time when we must accept change, no matter how great. There comes a time when we must all leave home.
Well, some of us. And okay, here we are in game. Some things look familiar, some things look different, and that's just the way I like it. Oh, it feels good to be back. Alright, I'm going to assume if you're watching this, you're mostly familiar with the basics of the game, but we're still going to go over a couple of things, because I imagine, well, straight out, the geography has changed. Europe looks different than it did last time I clicked through. They split up more of the countries, which is excellent. I noticed that priorities are now different. This is how you control your nation. And we have new ones, like environmental funding has been split off from welfare. You have oppression funding. Interesting. So this has all been made more complicated. You've got sustainability. Okay, so they've split off the environmental elements to make them more complicated because this game was obviously far too simple beforehand. Other than that, most of the geography looks similar. I understand there's been some serious changes and improvements to a number of things. Let's have a look at our councillors and define an opening strategy. Basically what I want to do this run is I don't want to get too bogged down in the early game. I want to get into the middle and the late because Terra Invicta is a very long title. Want to keep it moving. Although for those of you who might not have played the game before, the basic concept here at this point is we're starting the game as a loose organisation, an Illuminati, a pressure group, whatever you want to call it, that's basically been started up by a billionaire founder with a couple of influential members, so this evangelist and this celebrity. And while that provides us resources and they're all bound together by this common purpose, to get serious resources that we're going to need nations. We're going to need to control countries. So we're not just using the influence of our characters, we're getting the money, the space launch capacity, the military capacity of countries. So by controlling nations, we will slowly gain influence over these control points. So for France, it's the trade unions, then the mass media, then the legislature, and finally the executive. Each of those brings its own bonuses and gives us access to a share of that country's resources. And then finally, once we control the executive, we can control diplomacy, its military, and of course, in France's case, its nuclear arsenal. So the first step in Terra Invicta is a mad scramble for influence as the newly created organizations try and win over and take control of various countries around the world. And that's what we're about to do. That said, we have 2 starting councillors.
Ready to go.
And I will rename these next episodes. So if you want to be named as a councillor, feel free to let me know which of these characters, and if we recruit a 3rd one and a 4th one this episode, which we'll probably do, let me know if you're in there for a name and which sort of councillor you might want to go into.
Acknowledged.
Awesome. Okay, let's have a look. So we have Isolde, well, for now, before she is renamed and restructured. Isolde is a celebrity from Germany. I've already given her her persuasion upgrades. She is indulgent, beloved, anxious. She has family ties to Germany. Affluent, which means she doesn't lose as much money as she otherwise would, because she's also indulgent. So she makes money, but she loses even more. She's famous, so she's giving us influence. Pollyanna means she always looks smiley and happy, so we don't actually know how loyal she is. She always appears to be maximally loyal. And importantly, she is a quick learner. This is a great trait. So she levels up faster. But the big thing is that she started 9 persuasion. I dumped 2 initial levels up into it. So she starts at persuasion 11, counts as 12 in Germany. Fantastic. Second character is Thomas. Thomas is from Montreal, Canada. With a name like that, I'm going to guess that Thomas Morissette is probably from, the Quebecois. So he is untouchable, beloved. He is a martyr. Famous. We got lots of influence income. That's a good starter. He is an extremist, which means he is more loyal, and he has investigation, but he is less persuasive in nations with high education level, and he is inflexible. Oh, that is terrible. Well, your starting councillors are usually disposable anyway, but Thomas, especially with his initial level ups dumped into persuasion, should be good to get some countries on board, but then we're probably going to dump him because leveling up costing 10% more experience is just a non-starter. And then we don't have a 3rd councillor just yet. We'll look at the recruitment pool. And I was clicking through these just before I started recording, just so I knew what I was working with. Valerie Kendrick here from the USA is excellent in a number of ways, or at least she's fairly good. She's young enough that she's unlikely to die of old age during a normal playthrough. Her stats, she's got a reasonable lineup in terms of admin and persuasion. She later on has missions for Crackdown and Purge, but she'd have to level up a lot. Investigation, espionage, but she's also a quick learner. She's also government. She was also an opinion leader, so she'd be useful straight off the bat in high democracy countries. She'd be rolling at persuasion 9, which is okay. She's expert, which means she brings a little bit of science, a little more influence, but she's very expensive. So we're probably not going to be able to recruit her until maybe tick 3, probably. So we have to come up with an idea then. So we're going to be working 2 councillors until we recruit Valerie at tick 3. And we have a couple of options. Originally, what I was thinking, we could go India, Russia. We could turn Russia into a giant space control center, India into our economic engine, Russia also as our military, and then eventually the game would culminate by basically we'd spend the entire game sacrificing the people of Russia and the economy of Russia in order to eventually send a small number of oligarchs to another system. However, Russia is 86% starting support for the Academy. So they're probably going to go, the AI is going to drop their councillors all over that. They are going to be all over that. So instead I thought, hey, Europe is looking like it's been redone. Maybe we do some European Union gameplay. Because when the game drops 1.0, which I think is hopefully later this year, we're going to have to do Humanity First again and reprise our good old USA opening. So I think we're going to open Europe, and that's especially helpful since Isolde has a bonus in Germany. It's already 18%. We could be rolling 50% right now on Germany without any bonuses. But I think what I'm actually going to do is we'll take both councillors, we'll double up.
Taking control.
We'll double up Netherlands.
Standing by for
something
orders.
like that. That'll give us a bonus to Germany and France. Sorry, we're going Belgium, Luxembourg first, and then eventually we might go Netherlands. So Belgium will give us bonuses on both France and Germany. So we might want to try and pinch off Western Europe. We can't unify them in this patch until later on, I believe. I think they've delayed the first unifications, but that works for me because our goal is really just to take over these countries, build out their maximum amount of local mission control, which all European nations can do it, even if they don't have their own space programs, because they're part of a bloc with, the European space program. So we could fill the Netherlands, Belgium, and whatever small countries we can get with as much mission control as they will fit. 2023, whenever we're allowed to do it, like a year and a half or 2 years or whatever the case may be, we can start absorbing them once they're full of mission control, which will then free up our control point cap, because controlling a big nation is cheaper, all else being equal, controlling lots of smaller nations. We can start to blob the European Union with that mission control and steadily spread out. I think that's our opening. I'm going to run the first couple of turns, and once we're in a position to maybe get our third councillor, we'll go from there. I just realised I should probably show the opening events just to show the basic choices that I always make. So management team here, it used to be officers and operators was the best because ops is hard to get, but it doesn't give you income anymore, it just gives you a flat amount. Whereas now we can increase research by 15 per month, monthly influence by 3. I'm going to pick financiers because we don't have any money at this point. That's also a reminder to set up our research. I'm probably going to do this. So the more you divide your research, the more bonus you get to your research output, but we also want to take over maybe one of these techs. So what's no one researching? Might be hard to wrestle this away, but we'll try and wrestle We Are Not Alone away. And we'll speed up time.
Our presence is growing.
Alright, we're on turn 3, which means I can start to slow down a little and just decide what we're going to do for the next 2 or 3. I've been tracking the world. We haven't done the initial investigate the alien event because I'm in a hurry to secure nations, not in a hurry to figure out this whole alien thing. That's really secondary. I want to seize power first. What we have done and what others have done. Russia, as I predicted, because this massive starting popularity is randomized, right? In this playthrough, like 70% of the Russian population is like cooperation with the aliens, idealism. That is the way to go. So we are so close to one AI faction, the Academy, having full control of Russia. Once they take the executive, they will have control of the nuclear arsenal, eventually its diplomacy, and full control of all of its armies. They already control 2. So strong start from the Academy. No one else has fired into Europe yet. There's a scattering around the rest of the place. What we've got is we've gone double Belgium, double France for our initial rolls. No one's gone Kazakhstan yet, which is one place we might consider going for boost. But that's a really strong opener so far. So what I think we might do now... Oh, and we have to remove the science. I can roll... We came up 1 influence point short on recruiting our next councillor this turn. I think I'm going to put 4 influence to roll 70% on France, which we should get. We've been rolling pretty high so far. 77 on Kazakhstan to stop someone else taking the executive. No one else can claim the executive if they don't have the non-executive positions. So we can basically... I've blocked people out of Luxembourg by taking these 2, for example, Belgium, Luxembourg. In terms of priorities, I've set them to just build mission control. We could be developing the country, but right now I just want them to expand their space programs so that when it's eventually time to absorb them, this is going to give us the best return on investment. For those of you who don't remember the basic theory, small nations in Terra Invicta are really, really good at building discrete cost investments. Mission control centers, boost for your space program, even armies. What they're not good at is mass producing science and your macro outputs. Those are most efficiently done in very, very large nations. So if I had India, I might want to invest in the economy and welfare and whatnot. But if I have tiny nations, it makes sense to build things like mission control there and then eat them up later on. In terms of research, I'm splitting my opening research. I'm putting 1 priority pip in each one because the more spread out you are, the more total output you generate. And then I'm going to prioritize one of them so that we win one of the 2 research slots. Because right now it looks like Initiative is going heavy on mission to space. Academy is going to win Skywatch because they're getting Russia's research points very quickly. We'll hopefully win We Are Not Alone. So I think that's the initial plan.
At your service.
Final thing to check is organizations and level ups. I think we've done all of those and we can't afford any orgs. Nor do we have a country to loot for resources yet. So there we are. As soon as we do this turn, we should be in a position to recruit that 3rd councillor. Okay, I think that's all we have to do. So let's go, let's speed up time. I had a sip of water. We have the influence, so we should be able to recruit. In fact, I'm going to recruit now. Just check that no one else has popped up that might be good. Really good crackdown and purge investigator over here. Just by starting with 10 investigation is very solid. but I feel like we can do that for number 4. I feel like it makes more sense to get the quick learner, because there's a lot of potential here. This can eventually be either an investigator or either investigation or an espionage character with good utility as a persuasion character early on. So we'll grab Valerie Kendrick, get her influence on our influence starting. An alien has been detected in low Earth orbit 1. Okay, so this will be because someone has finished Skywatch, presumably.
The trick is not to
There we
look
are.
directly at what you're trying to see. Offset your focal point somewhere to the side of where you think you notice.
Interesting. Okay, so
At night,
the Resistance has taken the research slot. You'll remember that whoever contributes
I won't try to
research in the
explain
game is divided into joint research, which the whole world is doing, but everyone's contributing to, and individual research, so research versus engineering that you do just for yourself. And whoever puts the most points into a tech, this is the incentive to do it, as well as getting access to it, is that you get control of that slot and get to decide what's researched next. The Resistance has gone straight to Deep System Skywatch, which means we can't just see what's near the Earth, we can see the whole system. And this is, interestingly enough, the tech that causes things to go very, very badly for the Academy, as people realise it's not just a couple of alien scouts, it is in fact a much larger alien force. So this beautiful Academy start over here in Russia may not be so beautiful for so long, so we'll see if they capitalise on it.
We failed to take control.
Did not take Kazakhstan,
We're taking
but
over.
we did get our spot in France. So at the very least, we can roll again on Kazakhstan with one of our characters, but the key is France, because France is the capital of the European Union, so they're the ones who control they're the one we're merging other countries into. So that's a positive start. I still think that the most efficient thing to do is probably max out France's mission control as well, because even though it's the largest member of the European Union we've got so far, it's still more efficient to build up its MC now than it is to try and do it later on. So we'll do this early on. We have Valerie on board. It'll be interesting to see who we recruit next. Hopefully new people have spawned by next turn.
Ready
We
for
have
my
3
mission.
characters available. We don't need to rush the executive spot because no one else can go for it. No one else can go for it because we've locked them out. So instead, what we might want to do is send whoever's our less convincing people.
Ready.
Yeah, like our less convincing people might want to make a play for the Netherlands or for Poland, even for Italy. We have to make a decision on what order we go for these countries. Comes down to cost, because I think the Netherlands cost about 33 points. Italy costs 56 points. Italy gives you 112 science. Netherlands only gives you 62, but Netherlands also gives you a contact, like neighbour bonus for Germany, and might let us fit in other nations as well. Valerie is also
Ready.
capable of doing the investigation, so we could actually send her off to get the research the alien crash site and get us some extra influence so we can recruit sooner. So maybe that's actually a good
recon the
idea.
site.
Where to?
Actually, no.
Acknowledged.
We can lock people out of the Netherlands if we
Taking
go
control.
double here.
I'm here.
Ready to go.
Thomas.
Establishing
81 and
control.
81. That's a strong
orders?
opener. Do we go straight into the Germany, or do we try and get the... Oh no, Resistance is going into the UK. No ambitions of bringing the UK back into the EU just yet. Czech Republic would be very cheap. 12, 24, 36. Poland could also be very affordable, and Poland's got a lot of mission control to fill up. So we could grab a control point in Poland, and that'll give us the bonus we then need to start on Germany. So something like that.
Establishing
77.
control.
So we're rolling. Basically, we're sticking to rolling strong numbers. We've filled up less than half our cap. But if we can go Netherlands, Belgium, France, Germany, Poland, that's a really nice collection to start with. And then we could worry about Spain and Italy later on, once we filled these guys. The other permutation would be to drop the ambition to go Poland and instead go Italy. It would be significantly, wouldn't be hugely more expensive. It just wouldn't give you the same bonus going into Germany. It costs 36 points as opposed to 56 points. And you wouldn't get your bonus for Germany. But you would get access to more research and more mission control capacity. Now, I think I like this. I think I like this setup. All right, let's do it.
Our people in place.
Netherlands is good.
We've got our
Netherlands
people
is
in
good.
place.
Our supporters are in place.
Critical success in Poland. Okay, we blocked the Netherlands, and no one is in Germany. So now we can
What's the
send
op?
Valerie off to investigate alien activity. We missed the boat on Kazakhstan.
On the way to the
That's
target
okay.
site.
We'll coup it later.
Reporting in.
Ready for orders.
It's not ideal.
Where do you
Kazakhstan
need
is
me?
the way to get a whole bunch of boost early. We're going to have to make do with just France's at the moment, which is unfortunate. Although you don't get Kazakhstan's boost until you can break it off from Eurasia, which you normally do with a coup anyway. So once we have someone who's good at coups, it's probably going to be a coup in Kazakhstan to break it off from Russia, which is now under full academic control. So the idealists, the Star Trek types, are running Russia. How's that for an experience? We are winning, we are not alone, which is a good thing. So we will get this one, but it's not going to be completed until February at this rate. But we are adding science points really quickly, so I do not mind.
Standing by for
Thomas
orders.
can
Ready.
come over, roll on
At your
Poland,
service.
and Isolde can make the first
Putting
roll
our people
on
in
Germany.
place.
And soon we should be in a position to recruit Councillor number 4. And we've completed the investigate
Amazing
alien
turn of
activity.
events, Director. Let us hope they have come in peace.
So we get 20 influence and 20 science for that, which allows us to do our next recruitment. And we can research alien signatures, which we will do, because it is super cheap.
We've gained significant
Yes
support.
for Poland, and yes for
Gain
Germany.
significant support.
Advisory team. Okay, increase economy priority, increase space flight and boost, increase military and build army, increase welfare and knowledge. So it's either international aid or economic development. We're doing Europe though, so this is not as useful as it normally would be, but we will usually spend a lot more on economy, welfare and knowledge than we would on spaceflight and boost. If this had build mission control in it as well, it would be really competitive, but it isn't. We're going to emphasize international aid. I think that's more flexible. Okay, so we have initiative Kazakhstan. We have the room for one more recruit. Very slim pickings. The recruitment pool has been picked pretty. Yeah, this is not extensive. We have a scientist. Let me look through these. Doris here is old. She's not a quick learner. She's famous, which means she's very vulnerable in that sense. Although she is hard target. The main reason to pick an operative is the very, very wide mission set. So councillors in the game can be divided by 3 elements. Their traits, with things like quick learner or striver, which let them level up faster, being particularly good, but some of them can be very powerful in very niche scenarios. Their stats and their mission set. Having amazing stats but no mission set is sort of workable. You can eventually upgrade them with organizations to give them access to new missions, but operatives just come with a huge range of missions straight off the bat, including coup d'etat. Okay, I grabbed the operative because we really just need the mission set early on. We can dump them later. I did 2 levels up at XP available, so 2 into command. Probably not enough for Kazakhstan by itself. Like if we go and look at Kazakhstan, it's 0% success chance. It's 10 against 37. And even if we dumped all of our ops in, it wouldn't help. So we'd need to build up popular support, we'd need to build up national unrest, but we could probably set conditions as long as we level our character appropriately. At the moment, she's we could also crack down, but again, problematic. That said, increasing unrest, yeah, maybe. She's going to need org, she's going to need admin, she's going to need more command, she's going to need a lot of work. But for the moment, what we can do is just reduce unrest in France,
Turn down the heat.
level up. It's the other
Ready
three
for
characters that are
orders.
going to be doing most of the
Standing
work.
by for
I just
orders.
mostly wanted to pick
We
up
have two.
an operative, but we
I'm
have
here.
a queue of people who we're trying to
Reporting in.
replace. There are some characters we have who are clearly quite good.
Standing by.
Isolde, or whatever Isolde eventually becomes after renaming. She's probably going to stay in the team for Inspire, Turn Counselor, Public Campaign. All this is good stuff. You need one good influence character at least, and being a quick learner just makes her excellent at it. Thomas, I'm not sure yet. He's got pros and cons. Valerie will probably stay, which means Thomas will probably go. But Valerie will evolve, especially since she has government. She can attach all sorts of special forces units and whatnots to become more flexible. So she could become either an investigation or an espionage character, built off this quick learner. So she's a judge now, but she might become Judge Dredd later on, Judge, Jury, and Executioner. She can't assassinate right now, for example, but there are plenty of orgs you can add that do. Okay, solid progress. So we have Poland locked down. We're in the process of locking Germany down. We missed the boat on Kazakhstan. So what I'm going to try and do is finish the consolidation block out in Germany, and then we'll see how many CP we have left to play with in Europe. And we got one role in Germany,
We've got our people
2
in
roles
place.
in Germany.
We were unable to establish control.
Didn't get the final role in Germany, but that's okay. That's a lockout. That's at 171 control points out of 176. So what we now know, we're safe in the Netherlands, we're safe in Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Germany, and Poland. As we add more control points, we can then complete the lockout. But I don't believe, as I said, we're able to unify them until September 2023. So since we can't unify until September 2023, which is about a year away, which is a fair amount of time in game, we're not in a huge rush to consolidate the executive. After you take control of the executive control point, there is a cooldown before you can do major political changes. But the good thing is, across across this big chunk of Europe here, we are in complete control. The Resistance, who remember are a faction who are determined to, as the name suggests, resist the alien invasion, defend Earth's independence, but are not quite so extreme about it as Humanity First. They're on their way to controlling the United Kingdom, which would be kind of good for us. While we're building our fancy escape ship, we kind of want other people to be fighting the aliens to hold them off, so to speak. So the Resistance, getting access to, the Royal Navy, the British military, and of course these 2 nuclear barrages, probably wouldn't be the worst deal for us. US, Canada, Mexico are all still empty. Russia is full academy all the time. Pakistan has gone initiative. So initiative has a solid start. They're going to put pressure on China, it looks like, because they're getting bonuses. The more neighbouring friendly countries that you have control points in, the more bonuses you have to attempt to take control of the nation they neighbour. So by controlling Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and 2 of the 3 points in Pakistan, there's a chance the initiative actually does get into China first, which would be a thing. Also, they are the second AI faction to gain access to nuclear weapons, because they now control Pakistan's 2 nukes. We, of course, have control... No, we don't yet, because we don't have access to the executive, but once we do, we'll have access to France's 3 nuclear barrages. The Academy has 30, because, Russia. Okay, we can afford to slow down a little bit in terms of our frenzy of taking over countries, because we need 16 to grab the France. And then once we're fully consolidated and ready to make our next sort of macro move, or pick some researchers, I will be back. Okay, there we are, alien signatures.
We did not learn much, Director, but we have many prospects for future
Reading
discovery.
what they found. So we found some alien samples. They haven't taught us a huge amount. Majority of the research team believes the recent claims of alien abductions are simply a product of local superstition and media hysteria, but the frequency of the reports has become disturbing. Perhaps we should investigate. Surveil location in regions near any crap site. If abductions are detected, send a counsellor to investigate. We will. And then we need to research Skywatch and Deep Skywatch. I'm pretty sure they are both already happening. And we also need to salvage alien technology. I'm pretty sure Deep System Skywatch is already happening. It's 1/3 researched. We are pushing on. We are not alone. Basically, no one else is helping, but that's okay. And Outpost Tabs is cracking along. What we are missing, of course, is the boost we would normally like to have from the Kazakhs. But what I am doing just for the moment is I'm grabbing a CP in the Gulf states because you need to get money from somewhere. And spoils, which is basically just corruption, works really well in resource-rich states. Preferably ones that aren't in your main political coalition because it kind of ruins the country. So just don't look here. We're saving humanity, or at least a small portion of it. And we just need to redirect some oil profits in order to do it. On the note of spoils, remember, we couldn't do this in one of our previous playthroughs because it was a mean move, and when we were playing the Academy, we didn't do those sort of things. Which reminds me, I will be doing the mechanic, whereby you, the viewers, are able to suggest new house rules that get added episode on episode in order to add, special challenges or make the playthrough more interesting. So, since we are a private initiative of individuals who are going to go off-planet, congratulations. You all have been selected to be on the colony ship. You'll be getting off this rock. But before you do, you will get to help the help Project Exodus set its goals, so to speak. So yes, if you have an idea for an interesting house rule, add it in the comments. I'll leave a post for where they should be left. Thumbs up any that you particularly like, and I'll adopt a couple every episode so that we continue to evolve as the series develops. So right now, by the way, while I'm short on influence and control points to take over more countries, because I did grab the second Gulf points because we're going to stack that money to afford more organizations, which are these corporates or special forces groups, government organizations, lobby groups, a whole bunch of different entities that you purchase using resources, including money, which we're going to need a lot of early on. While we don't have the ability to expand just that much more, I'm doing a quick inspiration loop, basically corporate motivation day. Isolde and Thomas basically are meeting in Paris, and they're just telling each other how awesome each other are. Like, it's just motivational speaking to each other. That'll boost up their loyalty while we have the time. So we'll just hype mode each of them, and then they'll go and hype up Valerie and Doris. And then everyone will be high loyalty, and the risk of our organization being infiltrated or compromised by others should be somewhat limited. In terms of expansions, we've seen Academy move into Italy next, but that'll eventually be cracked down by Deep System Skywatch. No other major geopolitical moves so far, but Academy absolutely roaring out the gate. And we got our first major research slot. A lot that we could do. Advanced chemical rocketry is always an interesting one to open up with just to get the boost that we need. And working towards anything that works towards space colonization is also an interesting go. You'll note these percentages here. This is the chance of unlocking the technology. You can miss stuff. And because we don't have a good science lineup, our chance of missing technologies is relatively high. So there is a strong incentive for us when we ditch one of our people, which I've reflected will probably be Thomas, because even though he's super... this is why we have to use him to inspire up our other inspiring character first, Isolde, because once she's loyal, she can make everyone else loyal. Him being inflexible, augmentations cost, leveling up costs 10% more, is just a giant brake on his development, and it's going to get in the way. So we don't want that. So he'll probably go, and he'll have to be replaced by someone with a higher science score, probably. Anyway, I'm probably going to go... The tech tree has been significantly reworked, so the old assumptions are not there, and the great thing is I don't know how stuff's been rebalanced, which is kind of good, because the scientists doing this stuff wouldn't know what's good or what's bad. They'd be sort of making guesses based on imperfect information. This is much less laggy, much cleaner. Oh, this is okay. I'm happy. I am happy. What do we need for mission to the moon? Outpost Habs is being researched. That gets you mission to Mars. Yep, okay. So, an Outpost Habs. So, the other factions are already researching the stuff that we need in order to get the colonies going. So, we're going to grab advanced chemical rocketry. One thing I didn't mention is that as Exodus, we start with the space station for free, the Chinese one, Tiangong. I'm not sure whether we will turn it into a early research station or whether we will sell it off for something big early on. But we're in a good position. Also, the money is now racing in. We normally make 60 cash a month. We're now making an additional 20 cash per day. I just did our research, but everything changes. This is the extra counselor spot. So we're going to go down to deprioritize everything here, but keep the spread bonus. And we're going to complete clandestine cells as quickly as possible, because more councillors equals more control points, equals more Gouda, equals more consolidated Europe. Okay, we may not have a replacement scientist rolled up on the councillor set yet, but we do have a promising potential investigator to replace, who could fill a good Thomas replacement, let's put it that way, even though Thomas has not even lasted on the roster long enough to be renamed. Thomas's problem is he levels up slowly. This potential journalist is a bit older. This Indian journalist has Quick Learner. He does have Firebrand and Brazen. Firebrand makes him very good at persuading people in countries with relatively low education levels and low cohesion. Brazen also helps with low education. So he might be our fake news expert, but he's also good at investigation. He'd need administration levels up, but what he would allow us to do with his Quick Learner, because he'd develop quickly, is if we pull him in now, he could be eventually our crackdown and investigate character. We could turn the judge. She's weak at espionage right now, but she's got purge, and she's government, so she can get the other espionage missions. So we could use Quick Learner to turn her into an espionage character, which is not bad. It just take a while to make that pattern work.
At your service.
So if we unequip and dismiss,
Mission is a no-go.
we recruit this journalist. Insufficient admin, so we'll need someone with the admin points to spare. That'll do for the moment. So we're now behind, that's fine. And we'll go admin twice, because our journalist will need admin, and then the journalist can go investigation, and the judge can eventually go espionage, probably, or vice versa. One's going to have to do one, one's going to have to do the other. That's basically how it's going to go, and the next slot can then go to... Oh, that's nice. The screen's improved. Oh, very cool. Interesting. We will explore all the changes to this game as we go through. I'm just trying to get us set up. So yeah, our fifth councillor, once we can recruit them with clandestine cells, will be a science character of some description, I think. Awesome.
Standing by for orders.
Our journalist can be on hyper-person duty. Not the greatest chance of success, but I'll take
their
it.
loyalty.
Ready for orders.
Send the
Where do you need me?
operative over to investigate alien activity.
Alien site.
Reporting in.
Valerie, we've pretty much stabilized our nations in Europe so far, which is pretty good. Might take France down to just nothing, which would be nice. No one protesting in France. Heck of an achievement. Let's go. Well, we're detecting alien bases, which means I reckon Deep System Skywatch is done. Here we are. We got our alien surface bases all the way out in the Kuiper Belt.
Young, coddled as you are by the modern world, begin to understand what war is. I did what had to be done. Closing your eyes and
wishing the monster away only makes you an easier meal, says Colonel Hans Castillo. Alright. Academy's gone orbital shipbuilding. Useful tech, not useless at all. But the key is, the Academy contributed the most of the science, and the Academy is going to blow themselves up doing it. Xenology labs are great, but we have to do clandestine cells first. This happens, then we'll do alien origin and all that sort of stuff. Great, we've stabilized the Gulf states. So here we are, right out in the Kuiper Belt. And we have discovered the aliens have set up camp all the way out here, with a number of fleets roaming our solar system, some of which are hanging out relatively close to Earth. In fact, these look all like they're on their way. Alien ship design has changed, alien naval tactics have changed from earlier versions of the game. How? I don't know yet, but we're going to find out together.
Cleaning things up.
I just know by reputation that it has been changed, and that fleet combats are no longer usually the one-sided affair they once were. We have Resistance in full control of the UK, and they have those points locked down. I've started locking down points in Europe as I get the influence. I just need to make sure that I have some available to recruit councillors when the time comes. But I'll defend Netherlands next, because they're more likely to go after small nations because they're easier to crack. So we'll defend Netherlands will defend Poland, and then we'll defend Germany, France. I'm not going to bother defending the Gulf states. If I lose them, I lose them. But we also have the money almost to pick up the Laguna Foundation, which will add science output, a little bit of social science research speed, but mostly more admin points. So again, getting this control point cap up to the point where we can start grabbing a couple of capitals in Europe as well, without having to give up our giant budget balancing hack, which is the Gulf states. And there is the They Have Not Come in Peace. So images of obvious alien military ships and structures in the far solar system have dashed hopes worldwide for peaceful contact. Many who wish to see an avenue of cooperation with the aliens are changing their views in light of some of the first hard facts about their arrival. So the Academy is about to have half their points cracked down. They're going to lose public opinion. All nations move 1 point towards extreme values. So I hit this button, and oof, there you go. Interestingly though, the executive was not cracked. So you have the Academy holding on to the nuclear button in Russia, but they might lose some of these points and have to fight to get them back. They lost some of their holdings in Italy, including the executive. Doesn't impact some of the other powers that we're seeing develop, so Resistance fully in control of the UK. We talked about the initiative and their holding. They haven't broken into China or India yet. Humanity First, picking up Myanmar, a fight over Indonesia. Interesting. Okay, so Mexico, we've got Resistance and Humanity First moving in, whereas in Canada, it's the initiative so far, and no one's managed to land any American control spots just yet. Okay, so we have our first quote from Director Al-Ashgar, the face of Project Exodus, saying there are only two types of people in the world, those who only think of home and those who only think of leaving home, with us obviously being in the latter column. This is happening because outpost habs have been researched, and the servants who took that spot have gone with deep space propulsion concepts next. Not the worst. Outpost habs is one of the key ingredients we're going to need in order to actually set ourselves up on the moon. I'm getting really concerned about our boost income, because we can now research outpost core. We don't have mission to the moon yet or anything like that, but what we don't have is anywhere near enough boost to make that happen. One thing I might be able to do... Oh, that's good.
Initiating contact.
Hello, Protectorate.
We will not obstruct your exodus as much as we might.
Apparently they don't want to buy our habs. That's unfortunate. I was hoping I could sell them to Yangon Station, because it's a bit of a millstone around the neck at the start of the game. It's a useful asset to trade away, I think, but I don't want to be spending the boost maintaining it. I want to be stockpiling it so I can go to the moon and get resources. What would it take to get... If I gave you 2 cash... So you would give me a non-aggression pact for 1 money. I don't think that's a problem. I think 1 money I can part with to not worry about you for the moment.
I don't think I changed their mind.
On that note, nothing in the USA. Canada now under protectorate control. The good old surrender monkeys who think the only appropriate response is to surrender to the aliens, because appeasement always works. Russia is now split. You've got the servants controlling the security apparatus and the national industries, the initiative controlling the United Russia Party, and the Academy just holding on in the executive. My concern here is being the servants potentially using that security apparatus to take over the executive. So I really, really hope that the Academy uses defend interest on that executive position. Our interest in Kazakhstan will grow eventually. I'm happy doing what I'm doing for the moment, but I'm feeling that lack of boost. But right now, the money I'm getting out of the Gulf states is definitely worth it. I've defended interests everywhere except for Germany. I'll do Germany next, so I'm sort of digging in my heels, so to speak. What are my odds? Yeah, so I can start rolling 40% increased unrest rolls in Kazakhstan, which I might need to, coupled with some public campaigns, because for a coup d'etat to work, I'd need a lot of public support and I'd need a lot of unrest. But a successful coup would knock them out of the Eurasian Union and get me access to the boost that I'm desperately going to need to make it into space. I will be over CP limit, but I'm increasing this. But might be worth also consolidating the first of these European positions soon as well, based on whatever the unification timelines are, which I should check. We're about to build our first mission control point in Belgium, working on another one in the Netherlands. So it won't take too long. 1927. It's going to take about a year. It's going to take less than a year to fill Belgium fill Belgium with mission control, at which point it can be absorbed. The Netherlands will take longer, as will Germany and Poland, but we are making solid progress. Bingo, there it is. Councillor research. So I'm not going to worry about this right now. It's going to be one of these. We'll need Outpost Core. But Outpost Core is #1 priority. Because that's what we're going to put on the moon eventually. But let's look at councillors. What's the pool? The pool is small. I might have a look at see if it refreshes in the coming turn. But as it is, this is not a huge pool of available recruits. Alright, well, we'll wait for the turn to tick and then we'll see who we can bring on board. I have the influence save for it, unless they're a 120 cost. If they're a 30 or a 60, we should be able to pay for them, but let's see what pops up. Our choices are very slim at the moment. We're going to temporarily pick up this Czech tycoon for the massive control points and the additional influence money income. Just keeping her around for 3 months while we wait for the recruitment pool to refresh will actually run net neutral and also allow us to consolidate some extra countries. So that seems like a decent pickup for the moment. Does she come with any level ups? She does come with 1. I'd like science. She can level up criminal too, but I don't think it's worth investing there because that's a money investment and we're not planning on keeping her. Same thing with science. So let's grab administration. That gets us up to 193 on 212, which means a couple of things. One, we can fit Kazakhstan and probably afford to go grab Belgium, Luxembourg, and France, I think. Because we've got some other level ups coming, we'll have some other orgs coming. We can probably... Yeah. We've started building up unrest in Kazakhstan.
Where do you need me?
So our coup chance is now a massive 1%. But I reckon if we add some popular support on top, like if we throw everything over...
Where to?
We get Azol to
I'm
go over...
Making our case.
We'll check the math,
Ready
of
to
course.
go. We must persuade
And
the
then Doris
people.
can
Standing by. Standing by.
Doris can
Acknowledged.
investigate alien activity.
Your orders?
By default, Dominica isn't fantastic at anything, but we can use it to consolidate the final Belgium-Luxembourg control point.
Establishing our presence.
Alright, good to go. Okay, as well as Kazakhstan now being in the position where we're starting to get decent odds if we want to stage that pro-runaway coup, which, you know, decent pitch for Kazakhstan. You build rockets, we need rockets. How about you just violently overthrow your government? Like, seems to make sense to me. We've got some new organizations to buy with our oil money. So Palladium products will significantly increase our revenue and also boost Isolde's ever-growing administration count, which is fantastic. And then we still have a bunch of money left over. This double engineering one here will speed up our research. So I'm considering grabbing that as well. Might be a decent pickup. And then over here we can grab some boost income, which would also be nice. Because we're making 0.5. This would be Tantalus rocketry would be a 50% increase, which is not bad. So let's grab probably CE Heavy Industries. Bang. So we've just significantly increased our normal revenues as well as our oil revenues. We'll pick up Tantalus rocketry on someone who's got the admin space for it, who doesn't need it desperately right now. Probably our judge. Great. Okay, so it's a slight improvement on the whole problem there. And then the question is, do I want to give my journalist, who's currently boosting everyone's opinion of our organization, do we want to give him this plus persuasion org that costs 82 influence, or do we want to save up for something like the International Monetary Fund? I think the answer is I want to poach the IMF if I can get it, because it has a huge admin bonus, and we are already in a position to be somewhat improved. I've grabbed Belgium's executive. Isolde can now grab France's executive, because we're going to need that to start merging up countries. And then we'll keep working on Kazakhstan with the rest of them. I'm talking to the initiative here. They will improve relations with me and sign a non-aggression pact for 1 money. And since fighting early on is probably a distraction from our core goals, I see no reason not to sign that pact. That's the kind of thing we need to see from Kazakhstan. Build, baby, build. Get angry at your corporate overlords so you can be taken over by corporate overlords. Less keen on stuff like this though. Missing a 91 always hurts, but you know, we're not in a huge rush. We're playing a game of weeks and optimization at this point. We can afford to wait a little bit longer for the executive in France, but we'll repeat that mission and continue.
But we don't think leaving Earth is the answer.
That's a very diplomatic response from the Resistance, or the next person we've talked to. They basically said, hey, you acknowledge the aliens are a threat. That's a 50-50 with us. Leaving, they're not a big fan of, but we'll do the classic, you have one money unit, and we can be friends. Because friends is good. In particular, because it means they're going to put less pressure on our points. And considering the complete furball over points elsewhere in the world, I'm okay with that. Protectorate is dug in Canada. Mexico, not fully controlled.
The uprising is on the way.
Kazakhstan's now up to 4.8 unrest. We'll be able to start throwing attempts at a coup probably in the next turn or two.
Public sentiment is increasingly
Especially since we now have
with us.
40% public opinion. And some level ups and boosts to drop on our not great command character, but our functional command character. Alright, we're in a good place. We now have our first military. France starts with one deployable division. Luckily that division has a navy, so we can at least now have a military force. And also our first nuclear barrages, which means that the AI is less likely to try and invade us because they don't want to get a nuke to the face. Kazakhstan's looking nice and good here. 40% public approval, 4.5 unrest. We'll boost that again, throw even more unrest at it, and then it's basically time to start throwing coup attempts. It'll put us a little bit over, but we're improving our control point cap really quickly as the oil money flows in from the Middle East to purchase organizations like this one. The next one will be Ryan and Company with 1.5. We have 1.1k at the moment. That'll give us 6 more admin. The International Monetary Fund, we're almost there. That'll give us 8 more admin. And that by itself will basically give us what we need to control Kazakhstan and then work towards starting the inner Euro consolidation. Once we've started to eat the Netherlands and Belgium, and potentially eventually Poland, it's just going to take a little bit longer to build up the mission control. That's going to free up CP cap, which we can use to start nomming up the rest of Europe and consolidating. But really, our lagging point at this stage is we're short on military force because we only have one division, but no one else has grabbed the States and no one else has grabbed China, so we're doing okay. India looks like a shit fight. Oh, India is okay, so India has got an insurgency going on, high levels of unrest, and it makes sense because the Indian legislature and regional authorities, so the government, are controlled by the servants who want to worship the aliens, but the corporations and religion in India is controlled by Humanity First, who want to destroy the aliens at all costs. And different divisions of the Indian military are loyal to different factions. Half the Indian military is loyal to Humanity First, a quarter is loyal to the servants, and a quarter is just sitting on the side going, what the hell is going to go on? So for whoever jumps this executive point first, that's going to be really decisive. Is it going to be a Humanity First India with a couple of servants in there? Or is it going to be a servant India? I really, really hope it's not a servant India. That would be a bad opener. But we will see. Resistance UK is harmless, but servants and nukes bad. That's a general rule. Unless you're playing the servants, even if you're playing the Protectorate, there's general rule in Terra Invicta. Servants plus nukes equals bad. Because I really should add there, just in case people are coming to this game new, of all the factions, quick summary, Resistance wants to push back the alien threat, but isn't extreme about it. The Academy wants to do a peace deal with the aliens and thinks they're idealists. They think we can do a peace deal. Initiative is a group of... it's a corporate Illuminati. They just want to make lots of profit and use it to their own benefits. They want to use this as a chance to take power, influence, and money around the world. The alien threat is notable, but they're not ideologically opposed to the aliens, they're practically opposed to the aliens. The servants worship the aliens, the Protectorate want to surrender to the aliens, and we want to run the hell away from the aliens. There you are. Summary of Terra Invicta factions according to Perun.
Please.
And there we go. Coup in Kazakhstan. Supporters of Project Exodus have engineered a coup in Kazakhstan, resetting the control points and taking some control there under the regime. Some unrest has abated, and the factions that supported the insurgents by contributing to unrest may gain CPs under the new regime. We will instantly protect this. Boost is up to 3.4 per month. We were crawling on boost. We are going to be like a year behind on boost generation, but that gets us back on track. and focusing on Europe lets us get Europe at least the bit of Europe consolidated well. So I'm happy with that delay. Took Kazakhstan. We'll get to the end of the turn, and that might be where we close out episode 1. And yes, that did cost me my non-aggression pact with the initiative, but I'll try and get back in their good graces. Maybe I'll give them some money once they cool off. But it was worth it. To pinch Kazakhstan, worth it. We needed that Cosmodrome.
Are in place.
We are even more over with the Netherlands, but that is okay. Our mutual peace is over. That's fine, Soren. Now, we are over the CP limit, but we can fix that partially because we can buy the International Monetary Fund and Ryan and Company. So let's grab Ryan and Co. That gets us to 224 CP. Belgium's going to be exposed if we do this, but I think it's better not to be over CP cap and leave ourselves too vulnerable. Don't think we can level anything either, but what does IMF boost otherwise? Nothing. It's just passive. It causes people to be marked. Who desperately needs more admin cap? Probably our operative. There we are. Okay, so we are now 249 over 232. It's costing us 0.75 per day. Okay, so this is much less fatal in terms of being over the limit. What I don't have is enough influence to protect Belgium immediately, but that is okay. Alright, that's probably where we can close it out, because we've partially solved our problems, and we're in a decent starting position. Let's summarize. Opening for Operation Exodus. What we've done is we've grabbed France and Belgium. We're getting ready to consolidate those as soon as Belgium is full of mission control. Similar plan for the Netherlands, for Germany, and for Poland. So we will have a nice European starting block for science, mission control, our general economic engine. We closed out with a coup on Kazakhstan, which unfortunately we won't be able to protect straight away. So I might have to go full spoils to protect it. But I will defend to the death Kazakhstan, basically. In terms of global outcomes, we have an undecided India, a divided but Academy-controlled Russia, a neutral United States, a protectorate Canada, an Academy Brazil, an initiative Argentina, Humanity First in Southeast Asia, Resistance working on UK-Australia alliance, apparently. And Africa is a hodgepodge. Lots of servants' presence, some protectorate presence. Israel is under protectorate control, so the protectorate has a nuclear barrage. Oh, and we have the Gulf states continuously feeding us oil money. We're still at the point where we're making more from diverting resources from the Gulf states than we are from all of our other revenue sources combined, and it's really been critical to getting our org structures up quickly. I think that's everything for now. Welcome back again to Terra Invicta, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing how this playthrough plays out. If you'd like to name a character, you know the instructions. We have 5 available: the celebrity, the judge, the operative, the journalist, the tycoon. I will
What's the op?
adjust people's appearances and names accordingly.
Standing by for orders.
And if you have house
At your
rules, put those in the
service.
suggestions as well.
Ready for orders.
Hope you've enjoyed.
Acknowledged.
And I look forward to seeing you again next
Standing
episode.
by for orders.